Tonight on Sports Saturday, we're ringing in the new year with plenty of sports. The Tide faces the aftermath of the Sugar Bowl with plenty of good news on the recruiting front.
I don't think you necessarily have to get a trophy to be a winner.
Plus, it's Gator season at the Birmingham Bowl. Isn't that right, Gator Man?
I am the alligator bandit.
Yeah. What is clear is that Florida could help the SEC East go undefeated in bowl season.
Even though we're in the Birmingham Bowl, you know who's going to make fun of it.
And the NFL playoffs get underway.
Playoffs?
Playoffs!
Don't talk about playoffs.
Yes, playoffs. So get up, get pumped. We're throwing it down, and it starts right now.
From the campus of the University of Alabama, live sports. From Alabama's sports team, this is WVUA Sports.
Well, it's been a long, winding road for D. Hart, but the former Crimson Tide running back will make himself available to NFL teams in May. He will forego his final 2 years of eligibility to enter the NFL draft. He was Colorado State's leading rusher this season for Coach Jim McElwain. Congratulations to D, who has already graduated from the University of Alabama. And welcome in, everyone, to Sports Saturday. I'm BJ Millican.
And I'm Jen Chapman. Lots of Alabama juniors might be making a similar decision. More on that in just a moment. But first, we recap what was a disappointing finish to the Crimson Tide's emotional season. Needing a win in the Sugar Bowl to advance to the national championship, Alabama got out to the early lead, going up 21-6 on Ohio State. But then things turned sour for the Tide as the Buckeyes turned in 28 unanswered points, exploiting the Tide secondary, eventually leading to a Buckeye victory 42-35. A quiet locker room after the game as players reflected on the season-ending loss.
Yes, I mean, it was a heck of a game. I mean, we had fun out there. We tried. I mean, it's a tough loss. Simply put, tough loss.
Defensively, we were just trying to be on the same page and every given play and down, and they broke out on some big plays on us, and we just couldn't contain the edge at points. But other than that, man, we just try to fight all the way to the end and finish and get the ball back to our offense and to put points on the board.
Yeah, man, it was a hard-fought game. We knew coming in it's going to be 4 quarters, and it seems like they just wanted more than we did. So they came out with the victory, and we just got to go back and get ready for next year.
Now, a lot of those guys will get ready for next year, but a lot of them also have big decisions to make, like Amari Cooper, Landon Collins, and TJ Yeldon, all of whom are juniors and can declare for the NFL draft. Some definitely played their last game for the Tide as seniors, and they reflected on what's next for them.
It's been a heck of a run. I mean, I enjoyed every moment of it. And Alabama just helped make me a man. I mean, I love everything Coach Saban and those guys did for me.
I mean, it's been a pleasure playing here, man, learning from Coach Saban, man, Coach Davis, from all the coaches that I've been under, man. It's just been a pleasure, man, and it's been a learning experience, you know what I'm saying, for my next level or whatever. But, I mean, I can never regret a minute of it being in Alabama.
Yeah, it's been a great career. I mean, coming to Alabama has been the best decision of my life, and I love the university and everything it's done for me. I'm leaving out of here with 2 national championships, 2 SEC championships, and 2 degrees, so I love Alabama for everything it's done for me.
I just spend the rest of the time I have with my teammates and just sit down with my family, just talk about the future and see what can come up.
Same thing, sit down with my team, have fun with my teammates, and sit down with Coach and my family to make a decision on what I'm going to do.
And it's really, the cycle of college football. Players leave only to be replaced by new players. A big recruiting weekend for the Tide despite the Sugar Bowl loss.
And yesterday in the Under Armour All-America game, 2 top high school stars made their pledge to the Tide. The first is from Shades Valley, big defensive tackle Deron Payne. He picked Alabama over Auburn, whom he grew up cheering for. Payne is a big run stuffer who says his relationship with Mario Cristobal made the difference in picking the Tide.
The other pickup came from the Lone Star State. Cornerback Kendall Sheffield chose the Tide over several top programs, including Texas A&M. He's a 5'11", 183-pounder who is rated as a 4-star prospect, according to Rivals.com. He's the 4th cornerback committed for the class of 2015. You know, Alabama is holding a firm edge in the recruiting rankings, according to several websites. The big reason, big-time 5-star recruits, 5 of them, according to Rivals.com. They added Payne, who is considered a 5-star, according to that website. But as always, February 4th, Jen, long, long way away.
But luckily, Sports Saturday isn't a long way away.
Right.
It's just a couple more minutes away, so stick around. When we come back, it's the SEC's final chance to show the college football world who is boss. I mean, sort of. Florida could help the SEC East go undefeated. Highlights are coming up after the break.
Time for a little flashback, Jen. The year 1988, the venue, Legion Field, Florida's last bowl game in Birmingham. I was 8 years old watching this game with my dad and my brother from Legion Field. Emmitt Smith took the first play from scrimmage, 55 yards for the Gators score. I was not even in my seat yet. Me and my dad and my brother were walking up, and we heard the commotion as the Gators beat Jeff George and Illinois that night 14-10. So it was fitting today that the Gators were back in Birmingham at the Birmingham Bowl, and they were in those nice, sweet orange jerseys.
What a cool memory for you to have, though. That's really neat. More importantly, they were trying to win the SEC's 7th bowl game. They would try to and do it against East Carolina. No Will Muschamp, but the Gators defense gets them on the board first. Shane Carden's pass is picked off by Brian Poole, and he's gone. 29 yards, touchdown, Gators. Up a score when the offense gets going in the red zone. Trayon Harris lofts one to Brandon Powell, who makes the tough adjustment. Ooh, nice Gators up 21-7. And then the icing on the cake in the third quarter, Harris to Ahmad Fullwood. This one, 86 yards. He goes the distance. Gators win 28-20. Here's interim coach DJ Durkin.
Words can't really describe how I feel about these guys as a team. I'm so happy for our players to go get that win. You know, we're just trying to get guys to buy into something and buy into playing for one another and relationships they have in that room. And I think it was pretty evident that you can see those guys have bought into that. And so just a great feeling of pride and happiness for those guys after the game.
Coming to this game, we knew what we was getting into. So we just all decided to rally together, you know, play for each other, play for the coaching staff. And, you know, we wanted to go out, you know, the end of the season with the W. So that's what we came together for, and that's what we accomplished.
And we mentioned it earlier, 7 wins for SEC teams in bowl games this season. That ties their own record for NCAA bowl wins by a single conference in 1 year. But check out the East, 5-0, while the West limps to a 2-5 record.
Ouch.
Well, that was a tough one.
Tough for the West.
You know, do you think that sometimes they have to get so hyped for so many games during the years that by the time they get to the bowl season, they are worn down? Some
of those bowl games might not mean as much to some teams. Other teams, they're like, hey, we're in a bowl. Let's win.
Just our thoughts out here.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A reminder, the college football playoff title game coming up a week from Monday, but we don't have to wait for playoff football because the NFL already got it started, right?
The NFL playoffs, 2 wild card games today, the first of which in Carolina. Cam Newton and the Panthers hosting the Cardinals. Cam running a little of that zone read like he liked to do at Auburn. He hands it to Jonathan Stewart, who, watch him spin. Whoa, I'm a little dizzy. 13-yard touchdown. This one, though, got tight. Late third quarter, trailing by a point. Cam finds Fozzie Whitaker on the screen pass. Fozzie, go Fozzie. He takes it the distance. 198 yards, 2 scores for Cam. Later in the game, the Cardinals driving, trying to get back in this one. Luke Kuechly, interception. Cards only manage, listen to this, 77 yards of offense. Ouch, the Panthers win and advance. In the AFC, happening right now, the Ravens hold a late lead. Looks like they're going to win that one against the Steelers, 30-15. C.J. Mosley had 6 tackles for the Ravens. 30-17 now, I've just been told. 2 more wild card games tomorrow, and of course, more Sports Saturday is coming up next.
Yep, we'll get into some hoops. A couple of SEC teams finishing off their non-conference schedule, plus the Crimson Tide men and women gear up for SEC play. That's coming up when Sports Saturday continues. Stay with us. And we're back with our play of the day. Jerian Grant of Notre Dame nearly eats the rim. Woo! But look at that vertical, and Grant finishes with 24 points.
I can jump that high. Something's chasing me.
Okay. In a win against Georgia Tech, but more importantly, he got to be our play of the day. Wow.
He's more happy about that.
I definitely can't jump that high. Well, SEC teams are gearing up for the conference season. That starts this week, which meant they were finishing the non-conference schedule today.
That's right. So lots of stinkers, but there were a couple of good games, like in Gainesville, the defending champs, the UConn Huskies, visiting Florida in a Final Four rematch. The Gators playing defense like Will Muschamp used to coach them too. Michael Frazier with the steal and finish at the other end. Gators led by as many as 13, but UConn, they're champs. They pull ahead for good with this Rodney Purvis tray. Bang! Huskies win 63-59. How about those South Carolina Gamecocks facing 9th-ranked Iowa State and New Jersey? I don't know why, but that's where they were. Check out the good D. Jamel McKay should have played for the Cyclones' defensive back. The steal. Dustin Hogue finished at the other end. On the other end, though, the Gamecocks up force, and Darius Thornwell got the shot to fall. Iowa State, though, they could not come back. South Carolina, a huge out-of-conference win over Iowa State, 64-60.
Well, the Auburn Tigers were at home hosting North Alabama. A big day for KT Harrell. 3 of his 25 right here. Harrell 4 of 7 from behind the arc. The Tigers were rolling. Malcolm Canada with the sweet look to Trayvon Reed, who throws it down. A big win for the Tigers, 82-61. They finished the non-conference slate at 8-5. So here's a look at the SEC scoreboard. Some other scores from around the league. Looks like they all did pretty well today, finishing out on top. And Alabama finished its non-conference schedule last night with a big win over North Florida.
Yeah, a lot of positives for the Tide as they get ready to begin SEC play. One of the big positives, they're riding a 4-game winning streak. Coach Anthony Grant said last night after the win that his team has a chance to be really good. New players like Michael Kessens, Riley Norris, and Ricky Tarrant are starting to come into their own.
Here's a look at the upcoming schedule this week for both the men and women. The Tide men at home Tuesday against Texas A&M for their SEC opener, and Saturday on the road in Knoxville. The ladies dropped their conference opener last night on the road. Tomorrow they are at Georgia.
Should be a good one.
So we've officially begun the transition into basketball season.
It's kind of depressing, isn't it?
Although it was already there, but until football's over, it's really not
absolutely
official.
But we've got a couple more shots to see a little football. We've got the title game next Monday, and then we've got the Senior Bowl at the end of the year in Mobile. I almost forgot where it was. I've been there like 6 times.
Yeah.
So, but that's all the time we have for Sports Saturday. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you guys tomorrow, or she will.
I will.
She'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.